you want are enabled. Thank you, Terry. You've got the recording going for me. You're a wonderful man. That's Terry Knight I'm talking to, folks. He's our IT guru and webmaster. A lot of you know him. He's managed to get into my computer and get everything going here. So that's wonderful. Thank you, Terry. Okay, let me just get back to where we were. So this is the first true auto trade. Terry is the best. Absolute right, David. This is marvel. And I'm a technological idiot, so we're really very grateful to have Terry on board. This is the first true auto trade program we've ever had. And once this thing is installed on your computer and you're set up with whatever it is that you require, and Terry has switched on the markets you want to trade, it's completely automatic from there on. You don't need to touch the thing. Occasionally you'll need to stop the computer to upgrade Windows, do the Windows updates. Just depends on the VPS you have. Usually Trade Navigator will do that for you. I'm hearing someone in the background there breathing. I think it's Terry. He's the only one who's open here. You need to put your mute on, Terry. I can hear you there. Where is he? I haven't muted you because you're staff, so you need to be muted. Okay, he's done that. That's fine. Great, thank you. Apart from that, you don't have to touch the thing. It will create the orders for you. It places the orders with your broker. Any broker, as long as they have a Trade Navigator back end. And most of them do these days. It places the orders, it places the stops. It has a target that it's looking for. When it gets to that target, it moves from a fixed stop to a trailing stop. And the potential of this thing is absolutely extraordinary. So with apologies for the time that has already passed, let's move on and look at the next slide. Now, this is our normal compliance slide, which I always have to show you, but it's a little more important this time because everything that you're going to see today is it comes from the back testing, and it's a computer-generated program written for us by our friends at Trade Navigator, but it is hypothetical. It runs on a Trade Navigator SIM account, which does have built into it a degree of slippage. It's as realistic as they can make it, but it's still hypothetical. So there are additional risks if you're looking at hypothetical trading and relating it to real-time trading. Obviously, liquidity is one of them. Availability of the price when you want it's another. And all those things you can see written here. So I do stress that you're going to see a whole lot of figures and numbers today, and a lot of the research that's gone into this project. And most of it is based on hypothetical back testing or computer-based back testing, computer modeling. We have been trading this on a forward real-time account as well for the last 2 months, so we've got a pretty firm handle on it. Okay, let's move on to our next slide. This is should get a change there soon, folks. Gosh, this rain is absolutely torrential. Looks like the internet's a bit slow. Let's just hope one of the telephone wells don't get flooded. That's what tends to happen in this country with lots and lots of rain. So this is a fractal-based program. I've been playing with fractals for about 6 or 7 years now, and this in fact started over 5 years ago with Project X, which some of you may remember, which showed great potential, but did never come to fruition properly, and since then over the years it's morphed and morphed, and we're really grateful to Tim Birch, who's he's the director of Trade Navigator and the head of development, who's put this FractZen program into a new platform they have called Trade Clone, which is showing much more stability, and it really we've been running this live for about 3 months now. It really has been very, very stable. We're very happy with it. Other people I want to thank for this, particularly the lovely Veronia, who may or may not be with us, Fluffy Cuffs. If she isn't, I know Shift is here. He'll let her know I was talking about her. She actually came up with the name FractZen. It's based on the concept of a fractal, which is a fancy name for a fraction. And she actually came up with that name for us while we were in Las Vegas a couple of years ago, the tutorial. So thanks to you, Veronia, and also big buckets of thanks to Glenys Narain, who many of you know, Sister Sage. And it's when we were developing FractZen, the cell phone version, which we call FractZen Text. She tirelessly worked to produce the charts which we had in proliferation at that time, and it was really those charts that gave me the incentive and the obsession to just keep following this thing, and what we've learned is absolutely extraordinary. So FractZen is intended to be a high-speed trading program driven exclusively by market volatility. If you think about it, what we trade is price, and to a lesser degree we do trade time, but we've never had an option to trade pure volatility, which is really the driver of all markets. It's a terribly, terribly important piece of market behavior that until now we've had no way of capturing. And what FractZen does is it reads a proprietary form of volatility from a designated look-back period, and it finds the optimum operating range, and it divides that operating range up into fractals, and it resets that operating range and the fractals as that volatility changes. And sometimes that happens every day. It's very, very dynamic. On top of that, there are macro settings of the operating parameters, which I control. And basically, I'm telling the program what are the ranges of speeds, look-back periods, etc., that it can operate in. We don't want a machine that's just running wild. I mean, eventually we would love that, but we don't have the technology yet to control that. So I have to set some ranges within which this program can do its thing. And those we call macro changes, which is just a fancy word for saying the next level up. So we presently have two versions of FractZen. FractZen Pro, this is our new fully auto trade program that we want to release to you today and tell you about. And this runs in Trade Navigator's trade clone platform, which itself is relatively new. This is pretty sophisticated technology, folks, and it requires programs, Trade Navigator data, and it also requires a VPS to operate, which is a virtual private server. Some people call it an NVS, which is a network virtual server. Basically, it's a standalone machine or it's actually part of a machine. These big servers can run hundreds of these VPSs. Trade Navigators typically runs about 23 to a machine. But it's a standalone machine that's running your program, if you like, in the cloud, which is, just a silly word for saying it's a Microsoft server somewhere. Well, in this case, it'll be a Trade Navigator server, but you can use your own VPS or NVS if you want to get it from someone else. You don't have to get it from Trade Navigator, but theirs is very good, of course. So all that technology is required, and it sounds daunting, but don't be frightened, because once it's set up, that's it. It's set and forget. And if you, in particular, you do have a Trade Navigator VPS or NVS, they maintain it for you. They do all of that. FractZen Text, which is the existing program we have, is a much simpler program, and that delivers buy and sell signals and the initial stop loss direct and instantly to your cell phone. And next month we'll add some optimum targets to the .text program. A lot of people have asked for that, and we haven't been able to deliver that until we really got on top of this back testing, but we have that now, and starting at the beginning of February we will be adding to the text program. So the text program doesn't have any additional cost to it. You can have any trading program you like, get your data from anywhere you like. You simply, we create the signals on our servers. They're sent out to you by text almost instantly, and you just execute them. when you want to, and we give you a suggested initial stop loss, and you take it from there. So what we're really doing here is we're searching for velocity or speed, and once you see this thing in action, it's quite extraordinary. I think I've gone through all of these points already. I've talked about this particularly. One of the problems we have with our programs is, I design these programs and we don't offer them to you unless we think they're very, very good. And we have people come back from trials and say, look, this is no good. And all the times we follow that up, we find out that whoever was doing the trial made a mess of it, or had selection bias, or missed trades, and everything else. So part of this process of developing these auto trade programs has been to make it easier for you to trade. I mean, the end result of this is you want to make some money out of your trading. And, if it's too hard, I know some of you have difficulty with your internet access, you have difficulty running your computers, you certainly have difficulty with the technology, because no one has more difficulty than me. I'm a complete Luddite with technology, but once this thing is set up and the programs are installed, and Trade Navigator, of course, their help desk will be only too willing to help you. This thing just runs itself, so don't be put off by the technology that needs to be set up. We'll go through the contacts you need and what's required there. So really what I'm trying to do here, and let me tell you, this has been years and years of work, and recently, the last 5 or 6 months, it's been literally day and night, 7 days a week. The learning curve has just been so steep. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to forecast the velocity at which each market will run in the future. And of course, we can't know the future. That's impossible. Anyone who tells you they know the future with any degree of certainty is, having a lend of you. We don't know the future, but with this program, the rewards are so huge that the lure of this project is really impossible to ignore. So I want you to just stay with me as I show you a little bit of an example of what I mean and what the opportunity that's in here. The good news is that, as you'll see from the results when we get around to them, which will be in 15 minutes from now or so, is that you don't have to hit the exact number, speed, and other, all the different parts that go into measure this volatility and to cut up the operating range into these fractals. If you get near enough, it's certainly good enough. And if we look at this sheet, the page you're seeing now, this is feeder cattle, which is just a small example. It's a pretty small market. It's a small contract, rather, I should say. It's a massive market. And on the period, the last month's testing from December the 15th to January 16th, just gone, FractZen Pro running on feeder cattle returned $4,900 odd. And this is a small contract. Its margin's only less than $2,500. So for 1 month, it returned 199% on margin, which is the way we usually like to measure these returns. Now, brokers like you to have about twice margin. Jerry's even a bit more conservative. He likes you to have about 2.2 times margin. So I put that in to give you a realistic idea of what these returns are. So for feeder cattle, assume you had a $5,000 margin, which is quite adequate to trade it. This gives you a return of 98% for 1 month. And when we go out to the full year period, it returned 300% on a $5,000 account. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's the best in the world. If there's something better, I don't know about it, and I've never heard of it. So we say, well, that's pretty impressive. That's pretty fantastic. But the optimum or perfect fractal, which you don't know, this is only available with hindsight when that period's gone, was actually a much higher speed, and it returned $18,000 profit for the same 1 month period. So, we're really, really thrilled with 2,500, which is close to 100% on margin, unheard of. But the potential for this thing is, I don't know, is it 8 times that. So, you know, as I study more and learn more and develop more, I hope to be getting closer and closer to this perfect fractal. And this stuff is very dynamic. These fractals jump around like crazy. It's very, very complex. But I just wanted to show you that for the potential of this thing and why I'm just dedicating so much time and resources to it. And it's the same for all markets. If we can even get close to forecasting the optimum fractal, the returns at levels that, you know, we have never ever imagined before. It's out of this world, literally. But right now, what we're doing and what we've shown we are doing when we show you the figures, I think you'll think this is pretty amazing stuff. Now, we're releasing this tomorrow. We've chosen 8 markets. They're not the best markets, but they're the most stable markets. With this FractZen Pro, the volatility can be enormous. We have some of these markets running at very high speeds, and others are running at very low speeds. And the back testing tells you what speeds those markets are running at, and we take that basic speed and we try to forecast whether it's going to be faster or slower for the next month or two, which is how we come up with the parameters that we set. But some of our very good markets have done astonishingly well, but they are very, very volatile. They're much too volatile for retail trading, and particularly for an auto trade program where this thing is locked down and it's running for you. So we haven't picked the 8 best markets. We picked the 8 most stable markets, and we'll continue to work on the others. And as we mature their stability with little tweaks to the algorithm, we'll bring you those over a period of time. Now, to run this thing, you need to have it. It only runs on Trade Navigator, and you need the Platinum version to run FractZen Pro. That can be purchased. Some of you already own it, in which case that's fine. If not, you can buy it or you can lease it, and Trade Navigator are putting together a special deal for new clients. You're going to need, when you get up to the actual trading real money, you're going to need a relatively high-spec VPS or NVS virtual server machine. The reason for that is that a big cost to Trade Navigator is providing the help desk that deals with your issues and deals with your problems. And almost all of those problems, the vast majority of them, are caused by computers that have poor internet connections or are cluttered up with you know, photos, videos, all that sort of thing. So what Trade Navigator has said is that this is a fairly complex program. It requires some decent resources, and they're only going to make the real-time version available on a VPS, one of theirs or someone else's of a comparable level. And I can tell you that when we first put, we're actually running 19 futures markets and 16 Forex markets. And when we put the 19 futures markets on my old Trade Navigator VPS, boom, it blew up. It just couldn't handle it, so they had to upgrade that for me. So we do need this is sophisticated stuff. It needs a high level of performance, but I state again, once it's set up, we have Terry to help you with that. We have the help desk at Trade Navigator to help you with that. Once it's set up, don't be frightened of it. Once it's set up, you won't have to touch it. It just runs itself. You'll only have to pay attention when you have to. You'll only have to worry about that when you have. This is marvelous. I have a cell phone. Nobody knows the number except someone's managed to call me. It's only for my family. Do excuse me. You'll only have to periodically deal with the issue of updates from Windows. It's a Windows-based platform. There are a couple of different types of VPS. Some of them, Trade Navigator will stop them for you and do the Windows updates when they happen periodically. Others you have to do yourself. And Terry's going to be doing a video over the weekend to show you just how to do that. There's a written sheets of that from Trade Navigator will go up on the website tomorrow, along with everything I'm showing you today, will also go up on the website tomorrow. And over the weekend, Terry will do a video for those of you who, prefer to see things done rather than reading pages of explanations. Okay, so they're the things you're going to need to run it. Trade Navigator has some fees and requirements. Here's a note from Pete Kilman. They've got the cost of all of this, pretty expensive. Is about $374 a month. But they're putting together a special package for new clients. It's just for Danielcode people, of course, of $199. Well, that includes the Trade Navigator Platinum lease fee. If you've got that already, you don't need to pay that. They're giving us a 40% discount on everything. So you can look, if you don't have any of the Trade Navigator stuff, you'll be looking at a special Danielcode deal from Trade Navigator, $199 a month. If you already own Trade Navigator Platinum version, then you just need to get an NVS, which a lot of you have, and streaming data from Trade Navigator. And you can talk to them about that, and I'll show you before we're over who to talk to. All the gobbledygook at the bottom about quad-core processors and RAMs and gigs and stuff, that's the specifications of the NVS, the virtual server that they will provide you if you want their version. You don't have to get it from them if you've already got one, but it needs to be about that sort of capacity. So just be aware it's a fairly high-end machine. So this is our first release, folks. I'm really excited to have so many of you with us today. I think you're going to find this is extraordinary. I'm certainly maintaining my excitement about it, and I've lived and breathed this thing now for probably 5 or 6 months, almost exclusively, and it is just amazing. But when I tell you there are new markets coming, I know you guys are all thinking, oh, when can we trade gold? When can we trade gold? Well, it's coming, and other markets are coming. There's a lot of great markets, but there's 145,000 variables in each of these markets that we analyze, and even with pretty high-speed computers, we don't have access to Cray computers and stuff, but you can't run this stuff on Bureau anyway because it all has to be set up exactly for what you're looking for. But it takes me about 30 hours, or sort of pretty much 3 days to fully analyze one market. And one of the problems at the moment, by the time you get through 8 of those, a month is gone. So I'm really trying to find shortcuts so I can do 35 of them in half the time, but we'll get there. But we're going to give you the 8 markets. The nature of volatility, the last point about here is that these speeds of markets and the implied volatility that we get from those speeds, it's an algorithm I've created that reads speed out of volatility. The way it jumps around on a short-term basis is absolutely extraordinary. And excuse me, if I hadn't seen it myself, I wouldn't have believed it. I've learned so much about market behavior by this endless analysis of these markets and seeing just how they do jump around. And so as daily ranges increase, you need far higher speeds for this program. As they decrease, you need lower speeds. That's the average daily ranges I'm talking about. But so what that means is that you don't have nice straight line profitability. I mean, what everyone wants is a program, that'll give you $1,000 a week, same money every week, same day of the week preferably. Trading's not like that. Trading is skewed, and this trading is skewed to volatility. So when you get volatility increasing, this program makes a ton of money. When you have volatility stalling, this program doesn't make any money. In fact, it loses money. We've seen drawdowns. I'll show you exactly what they are, but certainly drawdowns of 8, 9, 10, 12% are not uncommon. This is a very levered and quite volatile program, which is why it does so well. This is a page for those of you who don't think you can handle the FractZen Pro. This is just a page on FractZen text. which is our existing program. And this is just showing you what the signals look like when they come into your cell phone. Terry's put this together, and we've got 4 signals on there. We've got a 4x signal, copper, silver, and oil, but any one of those, that's what it looks like. It comes through. It's almost instantaneous. We've tested this texting program all around the world, and you get it very, very quickly, usually in a matter of seconds, never more than about 30 seconds anywhere in the world. And you just get this signal, and this is the text.text program, and you just handle it yourself. You buy or sell as soon as you can. We give you the suggested stop. I think we've gone away from the trail stop for this. We just use a fixed stop. But for those of you who want the no frills, no technology, of course it's much cheaper. A cost to us, our fees are about the same for everything, but you don't need all of the technology from Trade Navigator to run .text. So here's the important stuff to see. That person you're going to need to contact to get your free trial set up is Terry. His name is Terry Knight. He's our webmaster, and you can contact him at support@thedanielcode.com to email him. And also, now that we've finished that, let's have a look at the website to show you the other people that you're going to need to know about. Here's our website, folks. If you forget this, just at the top here, contact us, and you'll see that we have all the important people here. This is Terry. Is the guy you need to get start the application of getting your free trials going. Support@thedanielcode.com, and there's his phone number. These are our brokers, Jerry Winter at FP Trading, and Dan Nina at Striker. Jerry in particular is very, very familiar with the Daniel Code, and he's got a pretty good knowledge of FractZen. If there's anything you need to talk about, feel free to give Jerry a call. He's got a lot of detail on it there. And the person at Trade Navigator who handles us, or our clients rather, is, many a day I wish she would handle us. Those of you who know the lovely Melissa, she's a very luscious young lady. But anyway, there's Melissa Stevenson. She's a very efficient lady, and she's the one you want to talk to at Trade Navigator if you need help with installation and what have you. There are other people as well. Eric Seltzer there knows this stuff, and so does Rob, but Melissa will be your contact if you need any help from Trade Navigator. Okay, so let's move on, and let's see where we're at now. Sounds good, yeah. Is Trade Clone different from NVS, a new virtual server? David, Trade Clone is the name of the program. It's the Trade Navigator program which we've written FractZen Pro into. The NVS is a virtual server that will run that program. How much the Trade Navigator lease? I've given you that, Don. If you need more detail, talk to Melissa. It's Toddy Timmons, my old mate. How are you? Which brokers are we using? I use Jerry Winter. Gary, does Terry still work at another job? Yes, he does. We get him for about 40% of the time, and it's good to have him. Now let's move on to the heavy hitting, and let me bring this page over here so you can now see it. Your screen should change in a moment. And this is the heavy end of town. This is the results that we have generated from this marvelous thing. So up the top here, let's start with where we are. This is a 1-month test, the first set of figures that you can see, and all of these are up to and including January 16, 2015. This is the 1-month test. These are the 8 markets we're releasing today. Crude oil, S&P 400, that's EMD, that's the mid-cap S&P. The S&P 500 mini, feeder cattle, code GF, copper, natural gas, gasoline, RBOB, and sugar. And you can see these headings across here. They're all pretty self-explanatory. There's the win percent. There's the number of trades, average win, average loss, large win, large loss, gross profit, net profit, margin, that's the margin that the brokers require, percent on margin, which is the way we usually measure this stuff, average trade, max drawdown, and I've put in here a new column, percent on trade account, and to calculate that, brokers usually like twice margin in the account. Because Jerry's a bit more pedantic and a mate of mine, I've put it in at 2.2. So we've multiplied margin by 2.2 to express in this column the percentage on what an average size account for each of these models would be. Now, there's some pretty interesting stuff. First of all, in the nature of markets being skewed, the big hitter in the 1 month test, of course, was natural gas. So before you all run away to Terry and say, I want natural gas and everything else, let me take you a bit further. If we go back from there, the next group of figures, these ones down here, I don't know if you can see without the highlighter. If you can see where I am, let me get the spotlight, they call it. So this group of figures in here, this is the 5 month test. Well, it was supposed to be a 6 month test, and when I came to check it, I found it was a 5 month test. So, I haven't really worried about rerunning it because underneath it you've got the full 12 months as well. So what you have here is the 8 markets for the last month, for 5 months, and for 12 months. So, you know, you can get very excited about natural gas up there. It was the star performer for last month. But as you move down and take a deeper look, you will find that if we go down to the 5 month test, it only made 7,240. Well, it made 9,000 in the last month. So that implies that it lost 2,000 in the previous 4 months. And when you go out to the 12 month test, you'll see that its return on margin, 380%. Let's cut that in half for the percentage on your trade account. Remember I said this figure percent on trade accounts really obtained by multiplying the margin by 2.2 and assuming that's the equivalent of the trade account. It's our worst performing market over a longer term. So it's important to look at the longer term stuff, and it's important to realize that this volatility ebbs and flows. I say waxes and wanes, and people say, what the hell are you talking about, waxes and wanes? It's a rather older expression, but it means ebbs and flows. And as volatility comes into markets, I mean, let's have a look at where natural gas was sitting at the middle of December. 7,000, and we know it made 9,000 in the last month. So it was negative a couple of thousand at the 15th of December, and it managed to tally up $9,000 in 1 month. And that's purely a function of the volatility coming into that market. So when volatility comes in, these things can earn like absolute crazy. It's quite amazing. But the point from that is, whilst I'm trying my best to forecast what that volatility will be in the next month or so, we have no way of knowing whether volatility is going to increase or not. That is purely in the future. So, so much as you can, you should trade the greatest number of these markets that you can possibly handle. If you're just trading one market, you might get a great month, you might get a really lousy month and get disappointed. So you need to be diversified across as many markets as you can handle. And these are our fees over here. I've showed you Trade Navigator's fees. These are our fees here. These are all per month. And you can see that the smaller margin products like sugar are cheaper. And the other one that was reasonably small, let's look at our margins, is here, feeder cattle. So feeder cattle and sugar are 59 a month. Most of the intermediate markets are 74 a month. And the more expensive ones, which will be mid-cap, S&P, E-mini, and RBOB, the gasoline contract, they're $89 a month. So On top of that, of course, you do have the Trade Navigator fees. But if you trade, and they do sound expensive, of course, they are. It's sophisticated technology. They've given us a 40% discount. That's a great thing they've done for us, but it's still a real cost. But the more markets you trade will amortize that cost. So, if you're just trying to trade one market with all those fees, that may be a bit daunting. But if you're trading 3 or 4 or 5 markets, it won't be. The total of all those fees is $607, and I've got a special introductory offer for you. Any one of you, or those of you who want to trade all 8 markets, after your free trial, you can have all 8 markets for $499 a month, which is a discount of about $110 off the individual costs. Okay, so let's go along and look at a bit more detail here. So this is your 1 month figures here. This is the shaded color is the percent on margin. A couple of interesting points. You can see that this program, let's move down to the 5 month one, gives us a little bit better idea. You can see that this program doesn't have particularly good win rates. If we go down to the 12-month group, which is this lot down here, we can see these win percentages tend to be less than 50%, most of them. In fact, across the whole, this is just the 8 most stable, across the other markets that we're testing, we see win rates of anywhere from 37 up to about 70%. But traditionally, you'd look for a very high win rate when you're putting together a program. That's not so with FractZen because its earning capacity is so enormous. The win rate is relatively unimportant. What is important is the stop-loss management and the difference between an average win and the average loss, and that's how it makes its money. So you've got all of those figures there. I suggest this is probably the best one. Here's the 12 months. Now, this is 12 months back-tested data on the settings that we're currently using, and those settings change. So when I bring you the figures next month, they may well be different because both the micro and the macro settings for this program change. It's extremely dynamic. When they do change, you won't even be aware of it. That's transmitted through Trade Navigator to our servers, and it changes the speed. And we do have to upgrade markets periodically if they're not performing to their long-term percentages. Then we say this market has shifted to another speed. Now, to get really uptight to this stuff, you could actually do that every day, but it's counterproductive. We simply don't have the capacity to do it that often, but we don't look to change settings less than monthly. We will look at this stuff every month, and we'll upgrade the ones that are not performing and leave alone the ones that are performing. And inside that month, you'll recall that the algorithm on which FractZen runs, or the program, I hate that word algorithm. I know it's very trendy, but it's really not correct. It's just a set of parameters or boundaries in which the program is allowed to move. It will vary its look-back period. It will vary what it considers the operating range in accordance with the rules I put into it. I go garbage in, garbage out. It can only do what I tell it to do. So I don't only call that an algorithm because it's a mathematical model, but in reality, that's just fancy stuff. But it's changing its settings sometimes every day with some of these markets. So, if we look at a 12-month period, we look at these percentages. They are truly extraordinary. And we look at the percentage on what you might expect from your trade account, because this is where we've weighted this return against 2.2 times margin. As far as I know, it's the best in the world by a very, very long way. Had a nice talk to Jerry Winter this morning and said, do you know of anything better? And he said, no, I don't. So nobody's ever seen anything better. And in truth, if this thing would stabilize and we could get it to run these numbers out, or even half these numbers out, it would still be far and away the best in the world, and we have no reason to expect it will do anything except get better. But have a look at this over here, folks. You do have drawdowns. Now, there's a couple of, by drawdown, this means from the highest balance in the account to the low point in the account. It's a peak to trough sort of calculation. And some of these markets have had pretty massive drawdowns. Here's feeder cattle, 10,500. Here's natural gas, 11,000. I don't know exactly where those trades were and what were the special circumstances that caused them. We certainly haven't seen it while we've been doing our live testing. These are the sort of figures we've seen during live testing with the maximum drawdown. But hey, it has happened, so you need to be aware of that. The other thing to have a look at is, have a look at this column here that I'm now highlighting. And this is the number of trades per month. And you can see some of these, oil and the S&P 400, the mid caps, it's traded 48 times in a month. Now, generally, there are only 22 trading days in a month. For December to January, there are only 20 because we had Christmas Day and New Year's Day closed. So these are pretty near day trading programs. Same with RBOB, gasoline, 25 times. That's on average, that's better than the trade a day. So some of these faster programs are likely to lend themselves to day trading, and we will be developing a day trading version of this. So those of you who would prefer to day trade, of course, the beauty of day trading is you don't need all this margin. You can generally trade on about 10 to 15% of margin if you're day trading. We will be coming out with a day trading program for FractZen Pro, but don't please be writing to me saying, when's it coming, when's it coming? Answer is, I don't know, and we're also in the hands of Trade Navigator, who do this development work for us, and they give us the best access they can, but periodically they get snowed with other projects, and the machine stops chugging out what we need. So that's what we have, folks. These figures, I'll just move this slightly so you can get a good look at them. This top series here is 1 month. The next series is 5 months. It all is up to January the 16th, 2016. Exactly the same periods. And then the bottom series is 12 months. And that's what these programs have achieved, which we believe is quite extraordinary. So now to access, we've done almost an hour. I know I was late starting, for which I apologize. As the rain continues to fall here, it's really Ducksville here. We'll all be swimming down the street the way this is going. If you'd like a free trial, go ahead, please. You're most welcome. Contact Terry at support of the Danielcode. I'll give you his details again. Support at thedanielcode.com. And he will get you started in the process of getting you switched on, and he will liaise with Trade Navigator to get you set up. Terry, is there anything here you want me to say while I have these folks here? No, Terry is mute. Either he's here. It is. No, he says he's there. He says no. I think we're good. Contact Terry. Emails are great, folks. You can call him. You can also Skype him. He's in Canada, and he's on East Coast time. So if you if you're going to contact him, which I hope you are, you want to get into this as soon as you can. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I am personally thrilled out of my mind with the potential for this thing, as you can see, and you know, it's just going to get better and better as I live longer and have more time to develop it. You know, I tell you, I've been thinking about this thing for 6 or 7 years. It is incredibly complex, and the more you get to understand it, the more complex you see it is. But it's very dynamic. Your free trial will tell you nothing about profitability. We often have people who do free trials. They get fabulous results. They're super excited, and then they're disappointed when they start trading. We have people also who do free trials and don't get great results, and they never sign up and find out what's the beauty of it all. This is going to take time for you to see how it really works. Your free trial is to enable you to get familiar with the software and feel comfortable with how the program works, and that is all. You can't really get a feeling for profitability from 2 weeks trial, but the figures are here. They're going to be posted on the website over the weekend, maybe even tomorrow, but Terry's got a lot of stuff to get on. We'll be getting these up on the website where we have a new page. Let me show you. Don't forget all of those contact details are here. Your page should change shortly. There it is. This is the Danielcode website. This is the link, contact us. These are Terry's details. There's Jerry's details and Melissa Stevenson. And my email's down the bottom if you need to write to me about anything. There's our new page for you that Terry's put up, and it's called FractZen Pro. And there it is. In that page, progressively, Terry will be loading the video, no doubt, from today's webinar. You'll get the installation and setup instructions from Trade Navigator. You'll get a video from Terry showing you how to do the same thing, and pretty easy to follow. You'll get about a 5 or 6 page blurb from me telling you essentially what I've told you today, and you'll get those profit and loss figures so you can pore over them. And eventually, it might take a week or so, we'll get some sort of FractZen forum going up there, so you can send me your questions. At the moment, you can email them to me, but if they're technical issues, they really need to go to Terry or Trade Navigator. But we will get something up there so I can, comment on things, and that might take a week or 10 days to get up. So, folks, thank you. I'm going to just go through your questions now. Make sure I've dealt with you. We've got a big crowd here today, so it's good to see you all. I do hope you all take advantage of this. I do. Honestly, I think it's out of this world. You just need to make sure that you don't get too excited if you get a real hot run. I remember the example I showed you about natural gas. This thing, excuse me, when it's hot, it's red hot. But take a longer view than that. It's still, even when it's cold, it's over a period of time, it's the best I've ever seen. And for many, many months, honestly, I just didn't believe the figures that were coming out of it. But I can assure you they're accurate. I can assure you they come straight out of the computer-based trading program that Trade Navigator wrote for us. They've been checked by 2 or 3 people at Trade Navigator and myself and Terry, and they're extraordinary. Okay, let's deal with this. Don asked a question. He's left. Which Fractal? Todd, I've answered you. Gary, I've answered you. David enjoyed this. Adrian, are these real-time or curve fitted on history? No, they're they're a computer program, Adrian, that runs according to the settings that are in it. So they're real-time as much as back testing can ever be. Once that setting is entered into the program, it runs exactly there. You can't data fit. Why are the win percentages so low? Basically because that gives you the most profit. So all of our programs are optimized for profit. I can, if you want, give you programs that have very, very high win percentages. We've got settings available that will run at 75 to 80% win rate, but they just don't make the money. So, I've thought about, do we want to put out an emotional version where you can have a very high strike rate and feel, warm and fuzzy about it all, or do you want the one that makes the most money? Well, maybe there's an argument for both, but what you've got at the moment is what I'm interested in, which is, we trade to make money, and we measure our performance of that. Terry's just sent me a note, folks, very importantly, for those of you who are going to be requesting FractZen Pro Trials, please include your Trade Navigator account ID in your email if you do have a Trade Navigator account already. If not, say so, and we've got this special deal to set you up as new clients for Trade Navigator. So that's why, Adrian, it's not optimized for win percent. We can optimize it for win percent. And if that's something you're interested in, we can certainly show you some pretty impressive win percent, but it doesn't make the profits. It's like most things in trading, it's the unexpected that makes the big money. Okay, here's Robberty Bob. This will be my old mate from New Zealand. Hey, Rob. So you're passionate, yeah. Does this flag a move by you and the DC website? Oh, does this mark a move away from educating how to read and trade markets using DC levels towards promoting more the use of auto trading using volatility, speed, and this system? Well, Rob, as you know, I've been doing this stuff for about 30 years, and I guess it's like the ladies, mate. You and I have had a couple of beers together, and as you see the passing parade, even though some of us at least are at times devoted to the existing resident, it's the new and the young and the exciting that catches your eye. Boy, this thing's caught my eye in a big way. So, no, it's not really going to signal a move away. Nothing's going to change with what we traditionally do at the Danielcode, but I do know that an awful lot of people have trouble trading the Danielcode. The vast majority of our clients are part-time traders. They don't have a lot of time to invest in their trading. Also, it's fair to say the majority have, fairly limited financial resources for trading. Most of them have full-time jobs elsewhere, which is why, I'm interested in the day trading solution, because these people be able to trade on so much smaller margins. But we see time and time again that we know exactly what our programs produce, and we have people doing trials and they say, oh, well, it's not producing those numbers. And when we investigate those things, without exception, we find it's not producing those numbers because the operator is not putting in the right choices. So the beauty of auto trading, I guess, Rob, is that for a lot of people, it gets rid of all those sorts of issues. I also have, a number of clients, some of whom are very close friends. Jan's here, I know one of them. She's moved to a new house. It's in an eco-friendly sort of a new development somewhere. I'm not sure if it's North Carolina, Jan, or a bit further north. But she doesn't have internet where her house is. It's in a valley, and she actually literally has to drive to the top of her driveway to get an internet signal or a phone signal. So something that can run as an auto trade on NVS is, just going to be ideal for her and others like her. So. Yeah, it's pretty exciting, mate, and it's the new thing, and the results, of course, are quite extraordinary. Let's see who else we got here. Mark, you have 2-month trade results for FX pairs. When will you offer FX? How did the programs perform in the chief debacle? Well, we made a lot of money in that, Mark. We had a lovely sell signal if you saw it, and if you got on. Remember, it was only the quick and the dead that got filled, and you had to be with a fairly stable and decent broker to get a fill. But I think it was 26,000. It's on the front page of the website, mate. Let me see. It's probably still there. Let's have a look. Here, Mark, you should be able to see this page now. Here's the FractZen text signals right here on the front of the website. The text program made 13,818 out of the one trade on CAD Chief. And here's my post. What surprise, we had a TO3 sell signal that made $26,500 per one contract. So, if you were following that and got on, it's a ton of money. When will I offer FX? We're running it now, Mark. I don't know when we'll be able to offer it. We have an existing problem that all of the Forex platforms express the number of contracts differently. Some of them it's 10,000, some of them it's 100,000 for a big contract, some of them it's 1, 2, 3, etc. Trade Navigator is trying to come up with a enablement that will cover all of these Forex platforms. We've been waiting for a few months now. What I've asked them to do is get us gain capital so we can at least connect to that and get FractZen trading on that, and they will be bringing forward this enablement that will match any trading platform you've got. So that's the delay on that, and we do have a bit more testing to do. My guess is it's a month or more away. What round turn commission is figured in on this testing? None, Michael. You can see from the results it's not going to make a big difference anyway. What stop protocol was used in obtaining the back-tested results? This is from Brian Sullivan. Listed on the spreadsheet. It varies, Brian, as the size of the fractals vary, so does the initial stop. So it changes every few days, but sometimes every day. Mark, no commissions, mate. You can add whatever you think it is for that. Hank, hi, mate. How are you? John, are these all 24-hour electronic markets with you, FractZen? Therefore, the text can come and I sell it for any time, day or night. TJ, yes, TJ, if you're using the text version, they do come any time, day or night, which has been an issue for most people. But honestly, there are so many of them, if you just sort of want to take the ones when you're awake, as long as you were consistently random, my guess is it would be not too bad. But with FractZen Pro, it's entirely different. It's running all the time, and it creates its own signals and places them in your SIM account or with your broker as you require. Chip, nice to hear from you, mate. Hi. Nice day in my part of the world. Ducks. 7-8 inches of rain, flooding everywhere, Chip. We had a rain event like this last year. This is sort of semi-tropical where I live on Queensland's Gold Coast. It's a bit like Florida, and we do get these significant rain events, and boy, we're having that one now. And it's literally, I would say we've had at least 7 inches of rain in the last 24 hours, and it's consistent. So what are you saying here? Yes, Melbourne was night. Hewitt, Oz Open, yeah, Leighton, yeah. Weather wasn't so good. Yes, day trade option. Wondering how testing's going on that. Also, Chip, it's a way off yet. It's taken months and months to get this going, so we need to get this bedded down and working. It will be at least months of. All trades are on one contract. How large would I recommend an account to be to trade all 8 markets? Well, let's have a look and we'll tell you. Let's bring up the spreadsheet. These are your margins for the markets. This is Bruce. Bruce, these are the margins for all those markets, and the total is 33,000, so you need about 60,000 to trade all markets. Brokers will ask you need 33,000 margin, and brokers will typically ask you to have about twice the margin in your account for that. And of course, don't forget, folks, you can trade a lot more than one if you want to. The program's locked down to 1 because that's the default. But if you want to trade 2, 5, or 10, just let Terry know, and he'll sell you another subscription for that market or any combination you want. It's just the default when you first get the program. It's locked down to 1, but we can change that, excuse me, to whatever suits you. Okay, there we are, David. Good. What have we got from Toddy? I got that. Size the account. Yeah, Toddy says he thinks he knows where that big drawdown in natural gas is. There was an EIA report, whiplash a lot. Okay, thanks. It doesn't happen often, thankfully. Is this Forex as well, Alan? No, this is only futures, mate. Are the Forex results better than the futures, Bill? I don't think anything in the world's better, is it? Gee whiz, you're a bit ambitious, mate. I'm telling you this is the best in the world, and you want to know if Forex better. Here's a secret. On some markets it is. Okay. Excuse me. More potential drawdowns on NG. I don't know, Todd. It's only happened once. Next tutorial, David. Excuse me, coughing into your ears. Once I've got this launch, which is like now, I'm able to get back to doing tutorials. I'm going to try and have a tutorial late in March in Los Angeles. Those of you who are interested, let me know, please. There's a really nice Garden Hilton there near Manhattan Beach. It's only about 12 or 14 minutes away from the airport, but honestly, it's like a little beachside suburb. It's marvelous. Jerry Winter put me onto it. We've had a tutorial there before. It's a typical garden Hilton. It's small, unpretentious, just what I like. Got a great bar, dining room, and a great beer garden where we had a ton of fun a couple of years ago. So that time of the year, it's pretty cold in Colorado Springs and very cold in Chicago. Other places we've gone to, so that would be the preferred option. Los Angeles towards the end of March. Shoot me an email if you want to come, please. It runs for 3 days. All our tutorials do. Okay, what do I estimate? The account side needs to be, Peter, I've gone through that, I hope. Just when you see this spreadsheet, you're looking at it now. Just take the various margins, that's this column here. Excuse me, I'll just highlight one block for you. Take the margin and double it for whatever market you're interested in. That'll be fine for your account size. My outlook on the stock market, John, I do that every couple of weeks when we look at the update the S&P. Have a look at the long-term trend charts on the front of the website, John, and you'll get an update on where the S&P is now. Trade not 100,000, 60,000 will trade all of these accounts to a broker satisfaction. 33,000 is the margin you'd have to put up to trade all 8 of these markets, and brokers like you to have a bit more than the margin. Okay, so there we are. Oh, here's Sage, my old darling. Not well, she's lovely, gorgeous, glamorous young chick. Now, what is she saying? F said getting off the ground, enjoyed the long-term trend chart. Boiling hot in New Zealand. Web feet, God, it's web ought to be on this side of the Tasman. By the Great Lakes. Sage, I couldn't agree with you more. I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing in Australia, apart from the fact the only benefit is my children are doing very, very well at Bond University. I haven't spoken to you for so long. I haven't been able to catch you up on the news, but Bodhi just graduated with first-class honours in psychology, and they don't throw out first-class honours very easily, and in fact she's one of the best theses ever produced at Bond University according to her lecturers, and she's been offered a job as a tutor teaching psychology for the next 3 years at Bond while she's doing her PhD, and I understand the youngest PhD applicant in Bond's history. So it's been great for them, absolutely lousy for me. I wish I was back in the Great Shaky Isles, and maybe I'll get there in the not-too-distant future. But love you, darling. We should talk soon. Sage, yes. Gary, am I personally running the Auto Trade Life? Yes. Roberty Bob, yeah, mate. What I mean is that FractZen moves away from using the DC levels. Robert does, but it still uses all of the Danielcode fractals. When we get the operating range, we divide it by those Danielcode numbers that you see on the retracement charts. 0.9, 0.375, 0.44, 0.593, 0.74, 0.89, and occasionally 0.625. They're the Danielcode fractals, and we're dividing the operating ranges by the Danielcode fractals, which you know where they came from. And if you don't do that, it doesn't work. If you start dividing them by 8s or something like Dan did, or something even sillier, it does not work. It's only the Danielcode numbers that make the fractals work. Greg, with auto trading, how can a trial not show the actual results one should expect? Because it's only going to run for 2 weeks, Greg, and you might get a red hot 2 weeks, or you might get an icy cold 2 weeks. You need to look at this over a longer period of time. As I've been explaining during the webinar, volatility ebbs and flows. If you get increasing volatility, you'll get great results for that period. If volatility is subsiding, it's not, and you really need to look at this thing over a couple of months to get a real feel for it. But I've given you 1 month, 5 months, and 12 months of data. Previous data doesn't imply or forecast future profitability, but the figures I've given you are exactly what these markets have done at the current settings we're using over that period. Is there a way to manually intervene in the positions in trade clone? Yes. We'll talk more about that when you get set up there, Brian. Peter, good. Glad you enjoyed it, mate. Yeah, hope it improves for the weekend. I hope so, mate. when the next David, the next tutorial, late March, end of March. So and so, what else have we got here? That's good. I have to go right. Mark. Got to. What else have we got? Can the equity curve be displayed on the site so the drawdowns can be observed? Yeah, Greg, I guess they can. I don't know how to do that, but someone will know. We'll see if we can get that for you. Trade Navigator's stuff has all that available with pretty pictures and stuff. Anyway, there we are, guys. I've kept you for almost an hour and a half. I do apologize for the late start. Hope you've enjoyed this. Go nuts, party on, get stuck into it. Get hold of Terry and get yourselves on the list to get set up, and that would be wonderful. And thanks for your attendance today. Bye-bye.